On Locked On Rockies, CJ Cron keeps mashing and Kyle Freeland gets the bag.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 20th day of April. I'm Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire, bringing you your daily Rockies breakdown right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Proud to be your first listen and proud to be free and streaming on your favorite streaming service. You can also catch the live show and get in the live chat if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is a massive help to us, folks. So if you can go out to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We would love your support. Hey, today's episode of Locked On Rockies is brought to you by Blue Nile. This Mother's Day, give mom something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off $500. So use code Locked On at checkout when you head to BlueNile.com. Today on Locked On Rockies, we are talking about the offensive juggernaut that is CJ Cron, and we are also going to talk about the Kyle Freeland extension and deal. Going to get your reactions from Twitter. Going to give you the latest rundown from my, what I call him, my Rockies insider, another Rockies super fan, what he thinks on the deal. And we're also going to talk about just the current state of the Rockies, and preview a little bit of the game today as well, like we like to do after we get our fun podcast topics out of the way first. So first things first, I think the big story today is Kyle Freeland getting that extension. And let's head over to MLB.com. Thomas Harding. Freeland agrees to 5-year extension with the Rocks. Denver lefty Kyle Freeland endured hard Phillies contact in his first inning, and then alternatively breezed and wavered through 5 innings while limiting opposing runs to 2. Then, as when he did while growing up in Denver and still sometimes does while wearing the uniform, he rode the wild waves until the Rockies won, as they often do at Coors Field. CJ Cron's 3-run go-ahead homer, his 6th homer of the season, was all the difference in the Rockies' 6-5 win on Tuesday night, Colorado's 8th in 11 games. And in the place that's supposed to send pitchers screaming for the hills on the other side of the mountains, Freeland clearly didn't mind. In fact, he signed up for more. 5 years at $64.5 million with a vesting player option for a 6th year. The news broke hours before the game, but manager Bud Black said Freeland, who planned to address the media on Wednesday, and the Rockies had settled it a while ago, so Black could speak after the game about how Freeland, who entered with a 10 ERA, moved closer to the form to which the Rockies are committing cash and years. The fastball had life to it. The fastball to both sides of the plate. Black said he was effective to both sides of the plate, to both right-handers and a couple left-handed hitters they had. Threw some sliders, threw a couple of curveballs, and a couple good changes too. The biggest change may be in perception. There's more evidence that Colorado is a place to stay. Freeland joined pitcher Antonio Senzatella, third baseman Ryan McMahon, first baseman Cron, and catcher Elias Diaz in signing multi-year deals since the end of last season. They joined Ramon Marquez, who set the trend by signing for 5 years early in the 19 season. Outfielder Chris Bryant put his endorsement on the cool of Colorado when he signed up for 7 years at $182 million after celebrated seasons with the Cubs and Giants. But Freeland's signing, which ate up his final 2 years of arbitration eligibility, in many ways was the biggest. Freeland's signing keeps him, Marquez, and Senza together at least through 2024. The 3 rookies were in 17 when the Rockies made their first 2 straight postseason trips. There's a lot here. I just want to skip here forward. Everyone wants to be here and win, Marquez said. There's some more stuff that talks about, obviously, the offseason, people leaving. We started here together, and Freeland's going to be here 6 more years. He's an amazing guy and amazing pitcher. He deserved to get it. Freeland is loved in this locker room. Freeland is loved by fans. Freeland is someone that, yes, when you really break it down, when you look at it, when you look at things, is he going to be your ace? Is he going to be your number one? No, but that's not what we're asking Kyle Freeland to do. And it's I guess the Rockies are asking him to be the number one. I'm still intrigued by the setting of the rotation this year. But Kyle Freeland has to be he has to be not only in terms of all the people we've had. Freeland has been a huge fan favorite in the past, and this is a friendly deal to the team. He's not breaking the bank in terms of what pitchers are making, and he's a fine pitcher to have in the middle of your rotation. There is some stuff to be worried about. There is some inconsistencies, but again, when you're sitting here, when you're looking at it, and when you're reflecting on it, this was a deal for a middle of the rotation pitcher. This was a deal to solidify and keep your rotation solid. This is a move that of someone that wants to be in Colorado, likes being in Colorado, and is from Colorado. I mean, it's a tremendous story. I think buying into Freeland, I think committing to him. I think when you can, and instead of navigating those arbitration waters, instead of having tough negotiations, instead of going back and forth and not really knowing and understanding your role in the organization, that can have an impact. Now Freeland, now the rest of these players, a lot of them who probably were unsure about where their careers were at and at the status, can now just focus on and just play ball for the Rockies. Trades are a different thing. That's not in their control. As of right now, all of these players that they've re-signed to these multi-year deals now can commit to good, solid Rockies baseball. They have the personal side of things figured out. Even if the team struggles and everything, that's a whole different story. But for them, that side of the game is figured out. And I think that's a huge win for Kyle Freeland. And I think it's a huge win for the Rockies to make this move and to commit to a player like Freeland, to commit to players that have not only shown success in Colorado, but have really come to form the core of this franchise. And I think a lot of real Rockies fans, they know how important this rotation has been. They know how important the core of Marquez, Senza, Freeland is. And, Gray was in there up until this last season, but I don't blame John Gray either. But Kyle Freeland saw something, and I like the quote he also had. I can't remember where it was, but I believe he was telling someone he woke up, he got into the locker room, and it was a pregame, and he was like, "These are the guys I want to go to battle with. These are the people I want to play for." And I mean, that says it all right there. Now, if you want to be on the hesitant side, there is some things to worry about. And my guy crunched the numbers, Jambron on Twitter there. If you want to follow him, Jambron303. A lot of you in Rockies Twitter land know who I am talking about, but let me get you some what he said, some stuff that we should look at for Kyle Freeland. He's excellent at suppressing barreled balls, exit velocity, and slugging of batters. He's terrible at strikeouts, OBP, and weighted OBP. He is pitched to soft contact guy that can't strike guys out. Rockies is certainly unconventional. He keeps diving into the numbers, and he's, as we were talking and as we were going through this, he kind of helped me look at some stuff and also kind of came to realize, I think, from my perspective, I'm not as analytics driven as that. I'm kind of more in the value of that's fine money for a middle of the rotation guy, and you're not asking Kyle Freeland to be your ace, and you're not asking Kyle Freeland to lead your rotation. All you need is Kyle Freeland to be good enough to be your middle of the rotation guy. He sends me a bunch of pitch values in terms of things. Look at his pitch values over the year. Four-seamer killed it in 2018. Slider was good. Sinker was good. Curve was good. 4+ pitches. He currently, over the last 2 seasons, has no plus pitches by expected value. The trend is a bit alarming. Yeah, Kyle Freeland is fine as long as you view him as a 4 and 5 and not a 3. Some people on Twitter make him out to be a 3 starter, and that's laughable. I think Kyle Freeland, if he's on and if he was to be more consistent, could work with that 3. But I think it's I'm fine. If Kyle Freeland is the 4th or 5th arm in my rotation, I'm very happy. I'm ecstatic by that, and I'm because that's what we're seeing right now. With Freeland's spot in the actual rotation not being what it is, I still am confident when Freeland takes the bump versus some of the names that we've seen in the past and some of the people that might come into Colorado or Coors Field and be unsuccessful. But at the end of the day, his take is my take is Kyle Freeland is Jeff Francis 2.0. Crafty lefty, soft contact, location pitcher with a 4-pitch arsenal. Freeland has a higher but shorter peak. Francis had a good 3-ish year window from 07, then fell apart when location and velo fell off. Same is happening and will continue to happen to Freeland. There isn't much margin for these guys, and when it's gone, it's gone. Once you lose a little tick or a little movement, your misses barrels isn't true, and that's the only skill in Francis and Freeland have. But when you look at his ERA plus, Freeland has had 4 great years by ERA plus with only 1 down year in 2019. Pretty amazing career ERA plus at 115. Maybe the Rockies aren't dumb. He's 29, though, and 6 years is a lot. Although looking at the numbers, not as bad as I first thought. That ERA plus is amazing. He's 29. He's shown success. Has he dominated? Has he been a Cy Young? Has he gotten back to that Cy Young caliber that he was? Not lately, but he can. He can keep the Rockies in 2-run games against a Phillies team that can hit the ball really well. He can bounce. He bounced back after letting up some runs in the game last night and showed that he can keep the Rockies in the game. And if this new Rockies offense is able to come up and continue to score runs, they will back him up. If Kyle Freeland pitches like he pitched last night every fourth day for the Rockies, I'm fine with that. I want him to start getting into the sixth. I'd like him to start striking people out. And yes, as my buddy Jambron told us there are trends with Kyle Freeland's game that you have to be worried. But we're asking Kyle Freeland to be our middle of the rotation. If there were as many as alarming trends or as much inconsistency as we've seen from, say, German Marquez, be a different story. But this is a smart move for the Rockies. This is understanding and knowing that you have a that you got good value at a position that it's hard to get good value and good performance. Kyle Freeland is a good pitcher. He can be a great pitcher. He can have elite stuff sometimes, but we're not asking for that. I'm asking him to go out at Coors Field, limit the Phillies to 2 runs, and let the Rockies offense back him up and go out there. That's what I want, and that's what I hope for the future of Kyle Freeland. I hope he can continue to develop pitches and avoid the barrels. I hope that as he develops, and 29, and at that he still has plenty of time and plenty of potential to be able to work and maneuver and tweak things that can impact some of the trends that we talked about there. But at the end of the day, Kyle Freeland, it's just like what we talked about with John Gray in the offseason. It's a fine deal. You're not going crazy. You're committing to someone who can really benefit the middle of your order. And as that person I recognize in the chat there, CJ Holden, it's kind of a familiar name to me, says hometown kid too. I mean, he is huge in the community. It's a great story for so many Colorado baseball kids. I think it's incredibly important that there are 2 Colorado pitchers for the Rockies right now having impacts on the team. I know Ty Block finally had his first more rough start of the year, but I think it's important that the Colorado kids see that the Rockies see the value in pitchers that are from Colorado, that know what's going on and will commit to them. It's a big deal that a Colorado kid is in the starting rotation for the Colorado Rockies. Mostly for the softy in me and the sports story type of person I am. But I'm not alone. There's been a ton of response to this. And let's talk about the fan response. You guys were amazing on Twitter yesterday, talking to me, giving me your thoughts and engaging with the Twitter account. So we're going to see your thoughts. I'm going to dive into the live chat a little bit more here as well, because my friend Nick here is chiming in with his thoughts on Kyle Freeland. But before we do that, I got to tell you about the people that make this show happen, and that includes BlueNile.com. At BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of your dreams to gifting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. Whether she prefers a statement piece or everyday subtle elegance, BlueNile.com has fine jewelry options for every mom. Shop high-quality classic diamond earrings, elegant tennis bracelets, or gemstone pendant necklaces. If you're looking for fine jewelry but are having trouble, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7. That means you can get all the help you need, and they are available through the phone, and they have the online chat. They'll help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Mark Mother's Day with something enduring. Classic diamond stud earrings, elegant tennis bracelets, birthstone pendants, and so much more. You can find it all at BlueNile.com. This Mother's Day, give mom something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Rockies listeners get $50 off $500. This podcast exclusive is only good through Mother's Day. Use code Locked On. That's code Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. All right, let's get fan reaction here from the Kyle Freeland extension here in the live chat. Nick Tolan says, I love the Freeland signing personally. Thanks for doing the live show daily. You are welcome. And if you like the show, you can join us live here on YouTube at Locked On Rockies on our YouTube channel every day when we record the podcast. And you can ask questions like Nick did. Also, has to be good on the guys to know they're here for a while now. I think giving guys trust and security, especially guys you're asking to pitch at Coors. That's what we said. That's what we, Nick, that's what I kind of touched on there in that first segment. Committing to your players. And the Rockies, by doing this, by offering these contracts, by spending the money, I think are at least trying to patch things up in terms of the player front office relationship. Is it going to stay? Are these players going to be traded? That stuff can happen more down the line. But by offering these contracts, by re-signing a lot of the core foundation of this current Rockies team, the Rockies are saying we are committing to our players. The narrative around the Rockies isn't that right now. But with these players, with this next generation, with this new step, with this next team, they are committing. They're saying, yes, it didn't work out with them. I don't necessarily know what their talks are having, what the feelings and how that actually is. But when you look at the moves and from the outside perspective, you can assume that it didn't work out with Arenado, Gray, and Story. We had things fell apart, relationships fell apart. It didn't work out. However, we want to build on the relationships that we have, provide confidence and instill confidence in these players that we think that the relationship can still be built upon, still be mended, maybe still be improved, still get better. Versus when you look at Arenado and Story, and maybe even a little bit of John Gray, especially when you listen to his comments, the ship had sailed, the decision was made, and it was a very frustrating time for them. So trying to commit and tell these players and locking them down to long-term deals, I think is a way to help with that. But anyway, that's just kind of a little bit of a guess, I would say, on my end. But let's dive in here again to some tweets from yesterday. You guys were all over the Twitter sphere yesterday. I really appreciate it. Stephen Cross says, I personally love it. I don't get all the negative vibes towards this deal. If the Rockies want to compete in the future, it's imperative that they build around their young guys in their rotation. That is, kind of a good point. There's nothing really to hate about the deal other than maybe the length of the deal. It is a long-term deal, but for money and for the value you're getting from Kyle Freeland, I don't necessarily know what there is to not a much to be down on it. There is a couple of people we'll talk and some concerns, but again, here we know Jambron chimed in with his with the Jeff Francis 2.0. But for now, he's actually pretty good. Senza is the exact same dude from the right side. Okay, soft contact. Tim Larison says, I like it. Pitched 7 shutout innings at Wrigley against the Cubs in a do-or-die wild card game. And another game took a no-hitter into the ninth at Coors in 90-degree temps. Yes, he can be inconsistent, but mostly steps up in the big games, unlike the departed John Gray, plus attitude, too. John Gray did struggle in some of those big things. I don't necessarily know that one, but I think Tim's nailed it. Kyle Freeland has had some massive, big moments and some incredible pitching performances. That's something we need to understand and reflect and value as well. And he's still only 29. Like I said, still a great possibility. France Rocky sends the gift. So good. Very excited about that. Dakota DMark 0812 says, I'm so pumped. Monty Eman 093 says, love it. Hoping he shoves tonight. Maybe it wasn't necessarily a shove, but it was a good start after getting the deal. Bill Bean says, just when we thought the ghost of O'Dowd and Bridich were gone, with an ellipses, maybe a little hesitancy there with the old former Dan O'Dowd and Bridich, but you can't deny that they did find some good players, O'Dowd more than Bridich. Connor Joe's Flow on Twitter says, he has shown potential, but is too inconsistent. Rooting for him, though. The inconsistencies is something to be worried about, absolutely. But again, we're asking him to be the middle of the rotation. And if Kyle Freeland out of 10 starts is good Kyle Freeland for 6.5, 7 of those starts, you'll take that all day. Jay Pazzo says, good. Not too familiar what is a good value, but Kyle Freeland is a good pitcher. I believe I saw something in it was a tweet. needs more sourcing and stuff. But I believe Freeland's deal puts him like 33rd in terms of like pitcher value when it comes to contract. There was a whole thing. So pretty run of the mill, pretty standard contract for a pitcher of Kyle Freeland's caliber in today's age. It's pretty crazy that a lot of pitchers, kind of the norm, are getting these deals. But not only Freeland got the length and the money too. Gregory Rose says, personally, I think he's really lucky. He's a club worse 0-2 with an 10 ERA. Typically, you don't get extended or paid with those kind of numbers. Improved last night, stepped up a little bit more, and early sample size stuff, but that is something that you can point to. Kyle Freeland wasn't necessarily getting shelled. The lack of control and the lack of missed barrels were the issue. He was just kind of getting singled to death, as he said himself. Kim Roosh sends the standing up and clapping GIF. A GIF, I said GIF, there. So another approve I see. And we got a lot of smiles as well on the quote tweets there from Carmen Sense and Griffin as well with the smiley face and comment saying congratulations to Kyle. So congratulations to Kyle Freeland for getting the money, getting the bag, and he gets to do it in Colorado where he's been great. My brother always liked to compete with him for Special Olympics fundraising. So it was always a fun thing. And that's always a nice, positive Kyle Freeland story we have around the house. Is he's incredible at raising money, helping raise money for the Special Olympics in Colorado. And he's been great in the community for Colorado. My other brother in the live chat, CJ, says, are they committed to the right players, though? We'll see. I mean, it's the small sample size, but the players that they've re-signed, the players that they've brought in this year so far have all made an impact. One of those players getting re-signed has made a massive impact on the team, and we're going to talk about him in just a second. But before we do that, got to tell you about our friends at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season at BetOnline.net. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information from live betting. That's right, folks. If you want to jump in during the Rockies game, if you're seeing CJ Cron coming up in a big spot, well, why not go place a live bet on a CJ Cron RBI or a home run? Because you can do all that at BetOnline. They also got playoffs, esports, and a whole lot more at BetOnline.net. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action at BetOnline, where the game starts. Folks, CJ Cron has been absolutely insane this year and has been absolutely instrumental in the Rockies' success. This was something I knew CJ Cron was going to contribute. I knew CJ Cron was going to drive in runs, and I was happy and ecstatic that the Rockies were able to extend this. This was a wonderful move from the Rockies as someone who has made an immediate impact as soon as he got here. And the Rockies' offensive leader continues to swing it. He leads the league in home runs now with 6 and comes up in a massive spot last night. A huge spot, and blasts a huge 3-run home run for the Rockies here. Heading over to the Denver Post, CJ Cron's 3-run homer beats Phillies, lifts Rockies to 8-3 record. Patrick Saunders writing, CJ Cron continues to pulverize Major League pitching, and he's a gigantic reason why the Rockies are off to an 8-3 start. The stocky first baseman hit a 2-out, 3-run homer to left field in the 7th inning off of right-hander Arius Familia, lifting the Rockies to a 6-5 victory over Philadelphia last Tuesday night at Coors Field. He's got raw power. That's part of who he is, manager Bud Black said when asked to explain what's clicking in the Cron zone. I think he's become extremely comfortable in his own skin about who he is, an everyday legitimate Major League power hitter. Cron's homer, his Major League leading 6th, drove in Charlie Blackmon, who walked, and Chris Bryant, who reached on an infield single. Cron's homer traveled only 407 feet, his shortest of the season. In 11 games, Cron has accounted for 36 total bases and driven in 14 runs. He also hit a sacrifice fly in the 4th inning on Tuesday and is hitting .326 with a 1.199 OPS. Cron had a bit of matter-of-fact take on his hot start. I'm just hitting, he said. There's not much else to it. I feel comfortable in the box. As an offense, we know we're good enough to score some runs, so the pitchers keeping us in ball games to allow us to do that has been huge so far. I mean, that's kind of what we've learned for CJ Cron to be. He's not flashy. He doesn't want to put the home run shades on after the home run, but He has the confidence. He has the swagger in himself to come up in massive situations like he did last night and hit home runs. Just what an absolutely incredible addition for the Colorado Rockies. What an absolutely great value signing. What a find. And it was, and as soon I heard him say, as soon as the Rockies offered him the deal, he went ahead and took it because the Rockies signed him, took a chance, and like we talked in the beginning of the show, another example of provide the confidence, provide the commitment, provide the contract to say we think that you are going to make a big enough contribution to this team that we want to commit to you having an everyday starting role on the team. And now that we've done that with CJ Cron, all he's done is led the Rockies in offense last year and has started off tremendously hot and helped propel the Rockies to this start. CJ Cron hitting the long ball is helping out and scoring those runs and driving things in, and it's working right now. The new look Rockies offense is working right now because Cron's power is able to take advantage of the fact that Charlie Blackmon is getting on base, that the top of the order has had good success at getting on base, some of them. Brendan Rodgers. But CJ Cron's success is also due to the new look Rockies offense getting more contributions from across the lineup, top to bottom, in different places, which leads to CJ Cron being able to come up in big situations or having the ability to drive in runs. And he's very, very good at driving in runs. And it's been a tremendous start to him. And it's great because what was major last year, what we talked a little bit about towards the end of the season and a little bit in the offseason, the Rockies were bad at hitting home runs last year. The Rockies having the league leader in home runs this year is important. It's very important. And it's a massive contribution to the early success of this team, on top of the bullpen being probably the other biggest surprise of the team as well so far. Actually, the biggest. You were hoping that this offense was going to score runs, and you were hoping that this new look team was going to be able to drive in runs. You just weren't sure if they were going to be in enough ball games. And so far, through 11 games this season, they have been. Rockies looking to sweep the Phillies today. Let's take a look at our lineups for today as German Marquez takes the bump for the Rockies here in just a couple hours. First pitch here is not too far away as the Rockies have a little day game before hitting the road and heading to Detroit to take on the Tigers. Another opportunity. The Tigers are a good team, good young team, but another opportunity for the Rockies to continue this really good start. When you look at the schedule for the Rockies, they are going to be on the road here. It's the road Rockies. This is a prime opportunity for the Rockies to take advantage of this start of the schedule. They finish up with the Phillies, 3 games against the Tigers. Then they are in Philly for a 4-game set. Then they take on the Reds, the Nationals, Diamondbacks. Folks, that's a good start to the season. When you're looking at opponents, when you're looking at the way this team is playing, build on this momentum, grab on and hold and beat these teams that you know that you can beat and aren't going to be. If you have a successful month like this, it'll make those tough divisions. If you you can continue to have it, I should say. If you have a successful road trip, if you go on and you beat these teams like the Reds, the Nationals, and the Diamondbacks, and the Phillies in Philly, that is going to help you when you go through those tough division slogs when you have San Diego, LA, San Francisco, because those are going to be real tough games for the Rockies. But right now, the early window is still looking great for the Rockies. Tonight, the Rockies take on Philly. German Marquez is taking the bump, like I said. And the big news, don't worry, everyone. The Connor Joe, the man, the myth, the legend, is only just getting the day off today, which is good. A little early day game. No problem there. We can see a little bit more from Alan Trejo today. Plus, you got your ace on the mound, so you're hoping you get it loud. Zach Eflin is on the bump for the Phillies. They're 0-1, 4.5 ERA with 7 strikeouts. German Marquez is 0-0 with 3.97 ERA with 8 strikeouts this year. Charlie Blackmon leads off as the DH. Gerchek playing right field in the 2 spot. Chris Bryant playing left in the 3. CJ Cron first base on 4. Ryan McMahon in the 5 spot playing 3rd. Brendan Rodgers batting 6th, playing 2nd. Sam Hilliard in center batting 7th. Alan Trejo, the shortstop, batting 8th, and Dom Nunez getting the start behind the dish today. So Rockies looking to sweep the Phillies. Diaz and Joe out of the lineup today, just for it looks like a day off. Gene Segura leading off for the Phillies, playing second. Rhys Hoskins at first. Bryce Harper DHing today in the 3 spot. Nick Castellanos the 4 in right field. JT Realmuto at the 5. Kyle Schwarber batting 6th and left. Alec Bohm in batting 7th. Playing 3rd. Johan Camargo batting Camargo. Sorry, shortstop. And Matt Vertling playing center field. Should be a good one for the Rockies today. I'm gonna go ahead. I don't want to jinx it. I know that we can, but I'm hoping for a sweep today as the Rockies got their ace on the mound. Hopefully a nice little day game warmth for the Rockies. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at LO Rockies and subscribe to that YouTube channel. And you can hop in the live chat like Nick and CJ did today. And if you want to stay up to date with me, you can follow me at Paul Holden 33. You can also find all sorts of stuff that I do at paulfholden.com. Now that you've made Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day, go check out the Locked On Now and the Locked On MLB podcast to stay up to date with all things Major League Baseball. And if you've had your baseball fill with the Rockies, well, check out the Locked On Broncos, Nuggets, and Avalanche so you can stay up to date with all things Colorado sports. Folks, until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.